All right.
Merry Christmas, young Damien Brown. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Oh, very, very good, mate. You're at the gym. It looks like you're in a shop there. All that merchandise in the back. You there?
Yeah.
Stuff.
I'll see if I can get these to hook up. So,
Yeah.
play a bit of that background noise for you.
What's going on in the background, anyway?
Oh, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is that better?
Same old. Yeah, it's fine. Yep.
Okay, cool. Because they just got people working in the background, but.
What are they doing? Trying to make the place bigger?
No, just hitting pads.
Okay,
I don't need a bigger place yet. We're gonna wait 12 months. I need to see the accountant about that.
Yeah, training. I mean, training never stops, does it? You've been sleeping, breathing, and eating. Training.
Oh, I'm like literally just do a few PTs for this 2 weeks. I'm just doing a couple of PTs and then I'm out of here each day.
Yeah. Anyway, so you wanted to do a bit of a podcast before Christmas. We haven't sort of done one of these for a while.
Yeah,
so what's been happening, mate? What's been happening at the gym? Obviously, it's going very well. You've got people fighting in competitions. Obviously, they're training up from the ground, aren't they?
Yeah, look, we we've had like a couple of people over the last 12 months. They joined us 12 months ago, and in that time, they've dropped. A couple of them have dropped 30 plus kilos. One of them's nearly 40 in 12 months, and they've both fought. So we had 4 guys fight this year. One of them had his second fight for the gym. The other 3 had their first fight for the gym, but one of them's had multiple fights anyway. Really good results. We 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, but the results aren't always winning and losing, but more what you see them put in practice after a year and the hard work, and then you see it sort of pay off.
Yeah. So 3 days before Christmas? What's been happening? What else is there? I mean, obviously UFC's been on every week for the last half year, hasn't it, or more?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's been many weekends off, has there?
No, not since July. There's been not a week off. It's been constant. Every week there's an event on until, obviously, it won't be anything this weekend or the next few after that. But
I think as a young business owner, I've certainly found that there's not much downtime during the week. But when I was just a full-time athlete, I always had time on my hands. So I spent time with the family during the week and watched UFC on the weekend. I think this might be the least amount of UFC I've physically watched on Sundays for some time. I get no time during the week now, but it's not a bad thing. I've got to work at some point in my life.
No, it's glad that you can sort of work in the gym there full time, and you're obviously employing a few people, which is good. And it's giving them some aspirations in their lives as well to reach goals. So, but obviously things are working there. So you're obviously doing lots of different types of classes, female classes. Striking, BJJ.
The female classes, it's funny actually. What happened was my wife wouldn't do jiu-jitsu for the better part of 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I opened a gym and I was teaching her some technique on a Saturday, just messing around between the 2 of us. And I actually got one of my staff members, and she's my teammate, been training with her for years. And so it's roughly the same size. So I was like, oh, can you drill this with her? Because it's a better sized body to drill with. She's like, yeah, right. And then an hour and a half later, they both come over to me and they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to start a ladies class next Saturday. I'm like, really? I'm like, well, you guys will just need to work out how you can do that. And, so that's how it started. And then it went from just a Saturday morning, sort of the mothers of the kids in our gym, and my wife and a few others, and then it just slowly built. We just started advertising it, and now we've probably got about, I'd say 16 female members that come to it throughout the week, and we've got 3 classes now. So we do Tuesday, Thursday afternoons and Saturday mornings. So it really took off. But, look, the jiu-jitsu that we teach is combat-based, self-defense style jiu-jitsu. It's not, sweep, stand up, always get on top. And then obviously we teach stuff off the back, but our primary our primary goal should always be to get on top. So sweep or stand up.
And I think, in the last 12 months or so, you had two of the city kickboxing guys visit your gym as well, Dan Hooker and Brad Riddell.
So I don't. When Brad's must have been either right at the start of this year or right at the end of last year, but he ran a seminar for us.
Yeah.
And it was actually, Brad ran the first seminar I ever ran out of my gym. And it was a really good turnout. We probably had...
and I think it was just before he debuted, wasn't it? It wasn't too long before he debuted in the UFC.
I think it might have been the end of last year. He wasn't in the UFC at the time, and he was just traveling around. He actually fought in Coffs Harbour on one of the local shows down there, and then he came up this way and ran a seminar.
Yep.
So it was the same week. It was the week after his last, regional fight in MMA, and then he fought on Wollongong Wars, is what it was called.
Yep.
And that promotion's actually ran, I believe, by Alex Volkanovski's coach. So he fought on that, then he come up and ran a seminar, and then Dan Hooker, he was over here for XFC earlier in the year, and he had a fight coming up, and we've trained together a few times. So when he was making his UFC debut, he actually cornered Kai of France on AFC back in my hometown in Albury, and I was supposed to be on that card, and they flew me there anyway, and I had an old coach from there from when I was growing up in my childhood, and we just used his gym and got some sparring in down there, and pretty much just bashed each other for 10 rounds. And then when he was over here for that card earlier in the year, I always offer, we talk a fair bit, and I always offer the gym for any of those guys that come over here. Obviously it's good for my gym as well, but it's just who I am. Most people that travel need somewhere to train, and most of the time they either don't know where to reach out, or they reach out to just the only place they know. So I just offer the floor, and if they want to come, they can. If they don't, they don't. But he was awesome. He came in, he trained with the kids here, and he did some sparring with some of the 10-year-olds, and he's just a really good, down to earth, genuine person. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, excellent stuff. What was I going to say next? Yeah, the UFC, obviously, and what telling us about? You haven't been able to have a fight for a while because of COVID and stuff like that. Has that sort of been? Have you been chomping at the bit now to get back in there, or?
Yeah, look, mate. I don't think the desire for violence will ever disappear. I think, there's a bunch of different reasons people retire from fighting. One is physically they can't do it anymore. Maybe injuries have added up. I think a few knockouts in a row, things like that, they start to add up. The other one is you just fall out of love with training. I think one of the big things with fighting is you've got to love the training. You can't hate going to the gym every day just because you love fighting. So I think that's another reason. And I think one of the other reasons is, some people never lose the desire to fight. And they never lose the thirst for violence, which you've got to have to be successful in this sport. But they, sometimes have other things going on in life that just make more sense at the time. But I definitely am looking forward to, placing them up again a couple more times. But I'm just not sure really what's even going on in the world at the moment. So the UFC guys, obviously, they get their visas. The UFC is very good with athletes. When I fought in America, pretty much you got this 500-page document sent to you, and it was take this to the embassy and you'd be sweet. And I just book a flight, fly to Sydney, put my paperwork in with my passport, left, and 2 weeks later my visa turned up. Like I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, most of them the same. In Japan, it's the same. The Ryzen will, you know, send everything you need. You go to Japanese embassy, and it's pretty straightforward. But it seems like the UFC are doing their part in ensuring that their entire roster has an opportunity to make money. You know, they've given most of, I believe, the Australian and New Zealand athletes an opportunity to fight at least once this year. I'm going to say if you're an Australian or New Zealand athlete, then you're probably making money somewhere else as well, because it's a lot more expensive to live here than what it is in America. And fighting once or twice is not really going to support your family, even at the highest level, unless, you know, maybe someone like Dan Hooker, who's in the top 5, he's making a good point. He can fight once and probably get away for the year, but, you know, the average person making 20, 30 grand a fight is not going to take all your costs into that, your tax and your fight preparation and all that. They're not living off that. So, but he's definitely given most of those guys an opportunity to fight and travel. And then obviously because they've got the visa, they've got the travel exemption. It's difficult with other promotions because they're not as big, they don't have as much money. And then obviously the countries. So, you know, our intention is to fight on Ryzen again. I love fighting in Japan. I like the rule set. I think it's the purest form of combat you'll ever be a part of. And you get treated by the Japanese people like a martial artist and not like a, you know, thug, I guess, or just an entertainment tool. So it's a pretty surreal kind of cool experience. So yeah, that in Japan you can't travel to Japan unless you're a resident. So that makes it difficult even for that promotion to get people there. I know UAE Warriors in Abu Dhabi have had some issues with travel as well. You know, recently we've seen Shannon Ross travel over there and not be able to get home.
There's a GoFundMe page set up for him, I think I saw.
Well, I think that was to help his family a bit because he couldn't come home and work. So, yeah, again, he's a mechanic. He's got a job. So he did his camp and took some time off to get ready for his fight. He obviously put himself in that position. Then when he travelled over there, they couldn't get a flight home. So he's stuck in Abu Dhabi for like 2 weeks waiting for a flight home. So yeah, it's just quite difficult to travel anywhere, and I think the smaller promotions just don't have the resources, money. They're not in a position, or maybe they're in a country that isn't allowing travel, whereas America don't seem to care. They let anyone fly over there.
It seems that way.
And then obviously Abu Dhabi as well. The UFC are happy to charter flights as well. So the UFC are obviously chartering flights for their athletes, whereas other promotions put on domestic travel. So there's a lot of factors, but we're definitely looking forward to fighting again. I thought I was going to be fighting New Year's Eve, but the travel didn't get lifted. So, you know, every show that comes around, we're hoping to fight. But right now, I think if anyone that went into COVID and came out the same wasted an opportunity, and we definitely feel like, you know, we've made the most of it. And I just focus on the business and focus on what we can control and keep training every day because it's what I do anyway. It's part of my life. And then, you know, if a fight comes up, we'll snatch it up.
Certainly miss being able to catch up with you because it's been a few months at least now, obviously. So it's coming towards Christmas.
Sure.
So let's, I guess, before we sort of look at a few other things ahead, obviously you are a big fight fan and you obviously do watch the UFC anyway. So tell me about who you think some of the fighters that you've been most impressed with the most, I guess, in 2020.
How good is Charles Oliveira?
Oh, Charles Oliveira. I think you were on him too when it came to Tony.
Hard. So Charles Oliveira. Anyone who loves a good, accurate investment, I should say. He was for my mind, it was very obvious that he was going to pick apart Tony Ferguson. He's very similar in his submission game. He's very similar in his striking ability, but he's far more technical and far more tighter. And he looks fantastic at lightweight instead of featherweight, which he missed weight a few times. And, I just thought, like, Tony Ferguson's entire jiu-jitsu game is based around that Anaconda Darce choke front headlock sort of setup. But so is Charles Oliveira. So as a submission person that likes the front choke series, I felt like both of those guys wouldn't be able to submit each other with those submissions based on the fact that they both have an understanding of the mechanics and therefore can defend it. So I thought it was very obvious who was going to win that.
To be honest, obviously Tony was put in a bad position at the end of that first round and very close to tapping, I felt. If it went another few seconds. But obviously...
my elbow is still recovering from watching that. That was super painful watching it. I don't know how it didn't break.
It was just...
It was bent backwards. It's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, so obviously he made a mistake to get to be in that position, but Charles Oliveira obviously took advantage of that particular, moment and was so close. But he did just dominate him, just top control, just had him. About
Brad Riddell's next fight.
So Brad Riddell's going to be fighting a ranked fighter, is he? I'm just trying to think who it was.
He's fighting Gregor Gillespie.
Yeah, that's right. So Gregor Gillespie has only had one loss in his whole career, and that was the head kick knockout to Kevin Lee, I think. So that's going to be a dangerous fight for your boy Brad Riddell, that's for sure. But
the thing is, like,
Riddell's going to have to win on the
Gillespie's wrestling is on a whole nother level, but he's also fought those couple of Russian wrestlers that
that's right. He fought that guy.
And he did fantastic. You know what I mean? Auckland. So who knows? I mean, you like to think that his wrestling defense is on point. He's proved it already, but Gillespie's arguably the best wrestler on the roster. So we'll see what happens there.
I'm not sure when that's going to be, but that'll be certainly a big test for Riddell. And there's always a possibility he can do something, land something like Kevin Lee did.
Well, my prediction, you heard it here first, is that Israel Adesanya will fight Jan Blachowicz.
That's happening, I reckon.
In February.
I think it's March, is what I heard.
Well, I reckon that Dan Hooker.
Yep.
Alex Volkanovski will defend his belt. Dan Hooker, Kakara France, and Brad Riddell will all be on the same card.
Quite possible.
I don't think it'll be in Abu Dhabi because that's January is when they're going back to Abu Dhabi. So I reckon February or March, whichever pay-per-view it is, I reckon that's...
they're going to have, this is what I heard today, they're going to have, obviously, the Conor pay-per-view, then they're going to have one in February and two in March. So they're going to have...
In Abu Dhabi?
I'm not sure. To be announced, but most likely the other ones will be in the Apex. But the fights that I've heard are Volkanovski versus Ortega in February. I've heard Stipe versus Francis in March, and also Israel versus Blachowicz in March. And also Nunes is booked now, rebooked for the start of March with Megan Anderson. That's been rebooked.
I've seen that, yeah.
Not sure where Jan versus Sterling, that'll probably be February or March.
How good was Aldo on the weekend?
Yeah, Aldo looked great, and it was a great day for the veterans. Like, the veterans got smashed the week before, and you had Wonder Boy and Aldo, which we both had I think we both had a double on that, and also Pettis won as well. So all the veterans winning those fights, which was really, really good.
Yeah, it was. Are you there still?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, good, I lost that. It was really cool to see Aldo wrestle. It was good to see him back from those leg kicks.
That back take was really interesting and different. That was really good. And I was having a bit of a listen. I think we were both a little bit surprised that Marlon Moraes is pretty much, just getting smashed the last couple of fights just easily. He did sort of try to take Rob Font down in that fight, but I was listening to a podcast before the fight. I should have actually listened a bit more closely, but these guys were on Rob Font, these experts.
Yeah, well, a lot of people thought that his boxing was going to get it done. I think, and a lot of people were surprised when the fight actually happened that Marlon Moraes actually took him down. They were surprised with his wrestling game plan. I didn't really realise that he was a wrestler or had that. I just thought that predominantly, he as an athlete backed himself on the feet, and that was his thing. So, but his takedown was on point. He just
gassed out and lost the advantage.
Yeah, well, he gets tired. I mean, look at when he fought Cejudo. He like first round was crazy, but then Cejudo just kind of got back into it, and Moraes just got tired.
Yeah, no. So no, some interesting fights. I mean, I think Blachowicz being the light heavyweight champion, that surprises me a little bit. I mean, he's obviously done well his last couple of fights. Knocked out Corey Anderson, knocked out Dominic Reyes. That's two big names to knock out back to back.
Sure.
Yeah, that was quite. What did you think of Kevin Holland against Jacare? Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't see it. I had Holland. I mean, I had Jacare, but I definitely didn't see him knocking him out off his back. But then, it's not the first time. So everyone was shocked at it. But like,
no, he's just
Nico Price knocked out Randy Brown the same. Remember, he was on his back in like a omoplata sort of like shoulder lock position, and then just hit him with a hammer fist and knocked him out cold. So it's not the first time it's happened, but it was definitely a surprise. I think more of a surprise for most people that Jacare is such a heavy wrestler and a good jiu-jitsu player that he put himself in that position, I guess, was probably what surprised most people.
Yeah, having his head up like that, but this guy had such 6'3" and had really long reach as well. To be able to reach his head off his back like that, just with fists,
Yeah, it's it's crazy.
I can understand if you kicked him in the head, but I can get it.
Yeah, no, but he's reached up with that right hook and put it on his chin, and he was out. I think the thing is it's not so much a lot of people get hit from there. It's the fact that he generated enough power to cause that damage. So, yeah, that's probably what surprised most people.
And what do you think? Do you think Khabib will fight again?
No.
You think he's done?
Yeah, I reckon he's done. I reckon he vacates, and I reckon the winner of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier will fight the winner of the unannounced fight between Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker.
Hang on, so Michael Chandler, I thought he was going to fight Justin Gaethje. That's what I heard.
I don't reckon. I reckon he's fighting Dan Hooker. Either that or they're both playing like a crazy social media game and leading on.
I mean, everyone's trying to get a bit of everybody there, but
it's a crazy, the top 8 could definitely have an 8-man tournament and find a winner.
I mean, and I'll tell you what's his name has jumped the queue a bit. He should be ranked 1 or 2 at the moment, Charles Oliveira, not 3 or 4 or whatever.
Well, you've got Rafael dos Anjos, Charles Oliveira, Dan Hooker, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. That's 6. Tony Ferguson. Even though he's lost 2, he's still up there. You only throw one more in, like a Paul Felder or something like that. I mean, you've got an 8-man tournament. Anyone can win the belt, and any one of those 8 would deserve the belt. So but I reckon we'll see Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler in February.
Well, that's a good big bold prediction. You get some inside knowledge, or is that just a good guess?
No, I've got no idea. I've been watching their social media because obviously most people would know that I'm.
So if they don't make if it's not Gaethje versus Chandler, then obviously it would be Hooker versus Chandler. I mean that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think Los Angeles needs to fight in there somewhere too.
Yeah, definitely. RDA, needs to fight again. Gaethje, he's hanging for it. He wants to fight very soon. So,
well, I mean, what makes sense for the belt would be Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. That's what makes sense for the belt. But Poirier's got this fight against McGregor. I think
I guess
my prediction is Nurmagomedov holds onto the belt until he's forced to vacate it. That's what I think will happen. So he said he's retired, but he hasn't vacated.
Could well happen. I don't think unless he decides to, or he sort of tried to vacate the belt. I mean, when you sort of put your gloves on the ground like that.
Well, essentially, he should be pulled from the rankings, and he should be pulled out of the USADA pool. But
It's the first time I've ever seen. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's the first time I've seen a fighter put his gloves on the ground, which means retirement, and then still be considered by the head of the promotions as the champion, and still it's interesting. So.
Well, I guess there's behind the curtains. There's an official way to vacate the belt. I guess. He never did that. He just said that was his last fight. I don't know.
Do you think they'll make TJ Dillashaw against Jose Aldo? That's what Jose called out after the win.
Well, so did who was the other one that called him out?
Could have been Sandhagen.
No, the other one that night that called out TJ Dillashaw.
Or Rob Font, I don't know.
Yeah, Rob Font. Rob Font called out Dillashaw too.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Sandhagen's fighting Edgar. They announced that this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yep.
So, Dillashaw's got to come back. He's eligible already. I think he was eligible in October.
Well, he's eligible. He'll be able to fight the next. I think January was 2 years in January.
Is it? I thought it was October, but yeah. So he's going to be fighting February, March. As soon as he's eligible, they'll announce a fight. So who knows? Either of those guys makes sense. Jose Aldo, TJ Dillashaw will be a super fun fight.
So do you think? Where do you think John Jones fights next? What's your prediction there?
I think.
Will he be waiting till the latter part of the year? Or?
No, look, I think he just fights as soon as Stipe and Ngannou is done. He'll be just itching for a fight.
So
but I think they'll just give him a title shot straight away. I don't think he has to warm up to it.
Well, I guess what the UFC are hoping is let's get this done in March, this Stipe versus Francis fight. Let's just hope Francis knocks him out. This is what the UFC are hoping, I think. And then that way, 3 months later, they can book that fight.
Well, Ngannou wants to fight, so they get that fight out of the way, and Ngannou wins. Then straight away they're going to book Ngannou to fight Jones straight away. But if Stipe wins, I mean, who knows when Jones fights? Stipe likes to take a good 6 to 12 months off between fights. So I guess when you're on the good dollars, you can do that.
Yeah, so that's the interesting play at heavyweight. And there's always that potential Jones versus Izzy fight somewhere down the line as well.
Yeah, I mean maybe Izzy and Blachowicz, maybe they get that fight done before Stipe and Ngannou, and then potentially Izzy beats him, which Izzy will beat him. I think Izzy beats him. Easy. He's faster, sharper, more accurate, probably longer. He won't be as big, but he'll definitely be able to beat him.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think he wins. I think the Jones fight makes sense straight away.
I think Blachowicz definitely improved a bit, but I think he must be coming to a point where he's peaking and can't get any better.
He is 42 or 39.
37.
Like so, is he?
38 or something. 38.
Yeah, so he's a light heavyweight, so he's probably fights at 40, 41 if he really wanted to. But I mean, how long he stays at his peak for, who knows? Polish power.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. You see him fight someone like Jacare. It was a very close fight, and only beat Jacare by a round and a half or something. Really, it might have been a split decision. And then after that, just knocks a few guys out and is the champion.
Yeah, I mean, he knocked him out in style, folded him in half.
Yeah. What about what do you think of Bellator now with all these signings like Rumble and Romero?
Well, I like what they've done where, well, Rumble and Romero, they kind of they're still, what's the word, relevant. They're still relevant, you know what I mean? Whereas they used to sign a lot of guys who maybe weren't, they were still at the top of the game, but they weren't maybe as relevant anymore. Whereas the guys they're signing now are relevant, and they've also said no to a bunch of guys, right? They could have signed Anderson Silva, said no to them. So like there's some that they've chosen not to sign, and they're kind of going away from that, signing a lot of mid-40s and giving guys their last 1 or 2 fights style of signing. And they're signing a lot of young guys now. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I still don't understand. What I don't understand about Bellator is they still don't have it on TV in Australia, do they?
No.
Like we get it in New Zealand. I don't know if you knew that.
No, you don't have. Well, I didn't ask for a podcast so you could brag about watching Bellator. I'm gonna sit up till midnight and watch it on what is it? One or whatever that 1 HD is or whatever it is. No, they don't have it, and they don't even have it on. They don't even have it on the Bellator app. Like if you download the Bellator app, you can't even see it on that. You can't see it on their YouTube channel. Like it's geo-blocked, and it doesn't make any sense because like they geo-block it normally because say you got a bunch of Japanese fighters, they geo-block it so you can't watch it. You got to buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Or you got to be at the event. But like, there's no reason to geo-block Australia out of Bellator because no one's buying a pay-per-view and no one's going to attend. It's like we're like on the other side of the world.
Mm.
It's weird that it's not accessible. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's strange, but I just thought it was interesting that it's accessible here. But anyway. But anyway, enough about that. So next year, what does next year look like for you? What have you got? Any sort of set any goals, any plans?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to make my gym bigger. It'd be nice, Isn't that the point of business is always to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't mind fighting twice in 2021. I don't need to fight too many times, but a couple more times. And build a bigger gym.
So as far as promotions, Ryzen, any other ones besides Ryzen?
Yeah, I mean, UAE, we spoke to UAE for a bit.
Yep.
But their big thing is like contact us when travel opens up.
Yep.
And when's that? No one really knows.
We don't know. Yeah.
So there's a couple, but we'll just I'll just have to wait and see and take it as it comes. There's no clear. I mean, there's a lot of Australian promotions asking, but again, it's like I think there becomes a point where everything needs to make business sense, right?
Mm.
You can't let 200 people train in your gym for free because you want to train 200 people and then not be able to afford your rent. It's the same as, if you can't afford to get ready for a fight, then there's no point half getting ready for it just so as you can fight.
Mm.
So, if it makes sense, then we can make it happen. But other than that, I'm happy to sit out and wait for my opportunity to come up and keep coaching people and having, local fighters. It's really exciting to, maybe not for everyone, but for me, I find I'm really passionate about helping other guys do what I did. So it doesn't have to be fighting, but just learning martial arts in general, but especially like the fighting side of it. I get more nervous for my fighters than I get for my own fight. So I'll be like, they're about to walk out and I'll be out the back like dry reaching and belching. It's not even my fight. And I'll be out the back like super nervous for them. They're like, "Are you ready to go?" I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. And I'm not even fighting. But I feel all the same feelings that I get when I'm fighting for my own guys. And I think that's really cool because that means that one day when I don't have to do it anymore, or I don't want to do it anymore, I still get that same buzz. I still get as excited for them when they win, if not more, than what I do for myself. Because, you know, I make my guys put in the same hard work that I would do myself. So you can't just train 3 nights a week and have an amateur fight. I make all my guys train 5 nights a week. I make them do their weights and everything. So I see all the hard work that goes into it. And I get nervous for them. And then I get excited for them, the same as I would myself. So that's really cool. So I guess the focus for 2021 is to get more guys on the local circuit, if that's what they want to do. But most of all, just help more people learn martial arts and have better physical and mental health through martial arts. And I think
always look to get seminar opportunities, and that there's always that on the horizon, isn't there?
Yeah, look, we got a Dan Higgins seminar in March, so that'll be the first one. I'm not sure we're going to get too many people from overseas running seminars, but definitely we'll have that one. We'll probably have a striking seminar in the middle of the year, like COVID's like for everyone has made things difficult. It's made things difficult for us. You know, I guess like part of my business model was to have an international UFC athlete that travels to Australia every year, run a seminar in my gym, along with a few other regular ones, like 1 or 2 a year with Dan Higgins. But travel has wrecked all of that, so you can't have those internationals over here at the moment. So, but we'll just take it as it comes. So hopefully we don't get another lockdown.
There is, I think, I noticed in town here they've got a Carlson and Gracie jiu-jitsu franchise in Queenstown here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, no, they are quite big. They're meaning to sort of go, but it looks like there's a lot of people that go there.
They might need a new accountant, mate.
Yeah, no, obviously they have competitions throughout the South Island, it looks like, and they go out to Christchurch and they go to.
I think they're a pretty big gym. They're pretty successful. They got a lot of good guys. I've seen something.
I think there's a few around
something on social media. Yeah. And I think I've seen something with that gym on social media and how the numbers look pretty good. So yeah, but is it hot over there at the moment?
Yeah,
is it hot over there at the moment?
What's that? Sorry.
Is it hot over there at the moment?
No, it's not that warm. It's today's probably about 18, I would say.
As hot as it gets.
Yeah, no, it's not as hot as it gets, but I mean, I did play golf yesterday in the morning. It was a bit cooler actually. It was about 15, 16. I wore a jumper for half the round. But
I was, it's funny because I'm not very good at golf, which we've discovered on a couple of occasions. But I was thinking about the other day. I was driving past the golf course over at Nudgee.
Oh, Nudgee. Okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the Apex Golf Ambrose tournament. So
yeah, no, I do. I've ran a lot of those over a number of years, and they were certainly a lot of fun. And I mean, the thing about those is they're great days, and I love attending them. I loved organising them as well. So I'm trying to organise one here with the Rotary crowd. But it's certainly fun days. But it's harder to get. Sometimes I found it in recent years. It's just harder to get good numbers to these things. Sometimes, it just depends on the situation.
Yeah, it would be harder now too, because things are tighter for everyone.
But then I did go to one about 6 or 7 weeks ago. I went to the one down at Millbrook, which is one of these courses that they play on the New Zealand Open on, and it was a Chamber of Commerce type day, and it was like 120 people. It was quite jam-packed.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it was quite, well, at least 100 to 120 around that. It was about 20-odd teams. It was playing with people I hadn't sort of met before. It was quite good.
Yeah.
Resort-style course.
Yeah, well, that's you know, I think there's just a lot of back to your question. I think there's just a lot of uncertainty in the world at the moment. So, you know, I think like we can set goals and try to reach them, but like we don't really know what we're doing. So it's you know, one step at a time. And for me is to fill out the gym and obviously provide jobs. You know, a gym's never going to provide hundreds of jobs, but you know, I like that the coaches that I have are, you know, decade-long teammates, and we all come from the same system, but we teach differently and we have a different approach to the game. And I'd like to, you know, I'd like to add to that team of coaches and staff, and we're working on a couple of things. We're working on potential exhibition, charity, boxing match.
Always different ideas, yeah.
That's nice and quiet at the moment. So hopefully more will come out about that in the future.
Actually, I was going to ask you, did you watch Gallen versus Hunt?
Yeah, I did. Didn't you see that?
Yeah. Oh, I saw bits and pieces.
On the new headline.
Yeah, I saw that. You're versus Gallen, you know.
Oh, mate, like
heavyweight buffhead.
I put one post up on social media straight after the fight, and then a lot of the I guess the Cronulla Sharks fans or something, they didn't really take too well to my Twitter comment. So you know, it was a bit back and forth, and then about 3 days later, and it's still going now, but about 3 days later, someone messaged me and they're like, mate, you're the Daily Telegraph. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they sent me a screenshot and they're like, you're a troublemaker. And the Daily Telegraph, the Courier Mail, News.com, and what was the other one? And Fox Sports. They all took only my tweets, not the interactions, just mine. Like I'd said like 3 or 4 different things. And they posted them like the headline, like I was the most forthright in disagreeing with Gallen's call out of Rob Whittaker. I was just honest that I said what probably 95% of the population was thinking, but
yeah,
I don't know. I woke up to being a headline, and I ended up on a bunch of different viral Facebook pages and news channels. But you know, they say no publicity is bad publicity, so see it happens.
Yeah, I did see something on Instagram or something.
So I'm like 85 kilos, so if Gal wants to come down 4 kilos, we can do it under 100.
Yeah, he's but yeah, it was one of those interesting ones. I mean, Mark Hunt's gas tank was the big factor.
Oh, look, I mean, you know, we've all seen it. Like Conor McGregor is one of the fittest athletes in the world, and when he boxed Mayweather, he only lasted 10 rounds. You know, 10 out of 12, and like the first 3, he was fantastic. And if you look at the energy systems, the first 3 rounds was like 3 3-minute rounds and a minute break. That's 11 minutes in.
Yeah.
Now MMA guys fight 15 minutes max,
yep.
and that's their main event. And you fight 27. Yeah. Now boxing fight over 12 rounds is 48 minutes. You know, you got 12 3-minute rounds and a minute break in between each one. That's 47 minutes. So 48 if you include the rest before the right afterwards. But 47-minute fight, that takes a whole nother energy system. Something's built up over a lifetime. You don't just get that. So I think like going into the fight, pretty much everyone knew that Mark Hunt had to knock him out, or at least, you know, hurt him a couple of 10-8 rounds and we're going to have a draw or something like that. But, you know, Gallen's been playing 80 minutes of football his whole career. Like, it's like his aerobic capacity would be significant compared to Mark Hunt's. You know, I think like that's, don't get me wrong, I wanted Mark Hunt to win. I'm a New South Wales born Queenslander. I'm proud of it. And I wanted Mark Hunt to win. I wanted Mark Hunt to win by knockout. But I think like if you look at it from an actual physiological point of view, it kind of went the way it had to go. Like, one's an aerobic athlete and the other one's an anaerobic athlete, basically. I know you still use you need to have good aerobic capacity for MMA, but it's very explosive compared to boxing. And so I think the fight kind of played out the way people thought it would. If you knew anything about sort of athletes training wise and aerobic and anaerobic, physiological makeup and stuff like that, I think the fight kind of played out the way everyone expected it. I lost money on it. I was invested in Mark Hunt.
Well, I wasn't certainly wasn't going to invest in that fight, but I mean, I
was invested because I'm a massive Mark Hunt fan. And,
I mean, the last time that Mark Hunt won in the UFC, was against Derek Lewis, going I think in the fourth or fifth round. He stopped him, but his gas tank back in those days was probably
that was in June 2017.
Yeah, 3.5 years ago.
I fought on that card.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he was, by his own admission, he was happily retired prior to Paul Gallen calling him out.
Yeah.
So, good on him,
Yeah.
I got paid like $750,000. I'd fight Gallen tomorrow for $250,000. So, it's like, I guess it's prize fighting, and a lot of people are like, oh, he was there for the paycheck. Oh, I mean, tell me you wouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's like for $750,000, most people are there for the paycheck. That's why it's prize fighting. It's like saying someone goes to work in a call center and they're only there to get paid every Thursday. Well, they are there to get paid every Thursday, which is why they maybe don't perform every week. So it's just a different scale. It probably makes a lot of people angry because it's entertainment and they're expecting a bit more. But at the end of the day, that's his job. And he was there for the paycheck and he put in a good, solid performance. He just didn't get the job done.
So I guess, obviously, there's a shout out to your gym, the Base Training Centre. If anyone wants to join in North Brisbane, it's the best gym in North Brisbane by far at the moment when it comes to MMA training and all that sort of stuff. Tell us about Christmas. What are you going to be doing at Christmas time? What are you going to get up to? And does the gym close?
Yeah, look, the gym is, we're not shut. We've shut the timetable, but we have open mats Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So people can come in to jiu-jitsu or striking. We have coaches here that can help them. So if you don't know anything, it's fine because we have coaches here that can give you techniques and direction and things to work on. But we don't have structured classes for 2 weeks. It's essentially a way for us to have I guess like a skeleton staff. Big companies would call it like a skeleton staff. So like a couple of coaches and let people keep training over that period. There's a lot of public holidays, so it's really hard because we normally wouldn't be open on them either. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, and then we're back at it from the 4th. So we're only really shut for 2 weeks, and we still have five training sessions in that time. So that's the gym. We open January 4th. We have 12-week contracts now, so people can sign up for 12 weeks and buy their equipment, or you sign up for 12 months and we'll give you your equipment. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, kickboxing, people sign up for 12 months, we'll kit them out so they can get started. So that's probably the biggest cost in starting martial arts is buying all your gloves and shin pads and gis and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite an outlay to get going, but we recently did a restructure and that's all included in your membership now. So
that's really good. That's excellent.
Well, I still remember like 12 years ago when I started kickboxing, it was $100 for gloves and $100 for shin pads, and then you got to join the gym and you're like $500 deep before you step on the mat. We decided to do a bit of a restructure where if you join up short term, obviously you buy it. You still get it with your membership, but there's a joining fee. And then if you join up long term, then we'll give it to you. So, we want to invest in our members the same as they invest in us. So that's the gym point of view. And as for me, I booked a lovely trip down to New South Wales, which is obviously looking very sketchy at the moment with the COVID numbers and the border restrictions.
Were you going down to Albury, or where were you going?
Yeah, so what we did was we booked flights to Melbourne to hire a car and drive to Albury for 2 nights and then back to Melbourne for a night. My son, one of the luckiest kids alive, has 2 sets of great grandparents, which is crazy. And he hasn't met one set, so we really feel he's about to turn 4, and we feel like it's probably time. So we spent the money, which anyone that's travelled lately would realise that it's there.
And also, if memory serves me correctly, it's also your birthday on Christmas Day. Is that right? I'm just trying to remember.
That's correct, mate. I do turn 36 years old on Friday. So thanks for bringing that up.
Problem is, obviously, if you have your birthday on Christmas Day, you get less presents, don't you?
Well, most people do, yes. But, it's always like, I always try to see the funny side of things, and my parents are separated, so I get 4 presents instead of 2.
Yeah.
So I haven't done too bad for myself.
No,
but yeah, so we got a trip away book, but we'll see how the restrictions go. And trip away to down south might turn into a up north trip.
Okay, Mo. Anything else final that you wanted to say? I guess wanted to say thank you very much, being a friend the last few years, and also thanks for being regular, I guess, on the podcast. We sort of celebrated the top 25 personalities, I guess, in the podcast this month. So today I'll do a bit of a link and share this podcast as well as your previous podcast.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for that. No, look, I mean, it's been a great few years, but I appreciate the work that you've done for me and the support that you've given me. And I obviously always recommend you, but I strongly recommend yourself and CTBS. You guys really gave me direction as far as business went and tax accounting and stuff like that when I was an athlete, and I was kind of lost in the game of tax. And I'm happy that you actually reached out to me. So thanks for all your support and everything that you do for me. It's much appreciated.
No, it's certainly been a pleasure. No, we just gave you the platform. Your success is your doing. Remember that. You're the person that's put everything together. You're the one who's had all those wars as far as fights are concerned, and you're the one who built the gym. So all these successes that you've had in your life, and I think you've had it's been a fan. Even though we've had a crazy year, it's been very, very crazy. We really, both of us have got to look at the positive side of things. I think over the course of what's actually transpired.
Yeah, look, my wife, it's funny because my wife said to me this morning, are you ready for another lockdown? And I said, I'm 11 times more ready this time than I was last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a good year for gyms in general, not just mine, but gyms in general have had a good year post-COVID. So I think the lockdown was a lot to remind people that there's a good reason to get off your bum and get out there and socialise and join a community and, exercise, but more importantly, join a community and meet new people. So it's been really good. Thanks for having me on again, mate. I appreciate it.
No, that's okay. Thanks for chasing me, and it's timely to do it, as we'll obviously share your previous podcast as well. So I think it's great. Thank you very much. All the best over Christmas, and 2021 is going to be a great year. And let's hope that we can see you back in the cage again.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thanks, mate.
Okay, see you later. We'll catch up soon, mate.
Sure, mate. Merry Christmas.
You too. Okay, see you, mate.
See ya.